Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on the most prominent political leaders of the last century, both of whom are women, to hold the highest political office in their country. I believe that effectiveness of their leadership is demonstrated through immense achievements for their constituency, for society, and humanity as a whole. On the left is the Prime Minister of Israel, Golda Meir, who served between 1969 and 1974. And on the right is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Baroness Margaret Thatcher, who served between 1979 and 1990. Before assessing their leadership qualities, let's first turn to their biographical background. Golda Meir was born in Kiev, Ukraine in 1989. When she turned 7, to escape violent attacks against Jews, her family immigrates to the United States to settle in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Being a good student, Golda always had a passion to become a teacher. So in 1916, she enrolls in Teachers College in Wisconsin. When in 1917, British government announces national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, Golda and her husband decide to move to Palestine to start their new life there. In 1969, after sudden death of Prime Minister Eshkol, Golda Meir becomes the 4th Prime Minister of Israel. Her leadership skills are immediately tested in the Yom Kippur War. In a surprise attack on October 6, 1973, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar, Egyptian and Syrian military forces attack Israel. Running low on supplies, Golda Meir appeals to the closest ally, United States, asking for help. Richard Nixon personally authorizes airlifts of giant C-5 Galaxies to deliver necessary supplies to Israel. The airlift was invaluable to survival of the Jewish state. Israel's victory in a 6-day war led to a ceasefire on October 25, 1973. Golda Meir was very compassionate towards humanity. What future did she envision for the state of Israel? Some of her memoirs state the following: as long as we, Israel, live, our children and grandchildren, your children and grandchildren, the state of Israel and Jewish life everywhere will be defended at all cost. A Jewish state in which masses of Jews from all over the world will continue to settle and to build, an Israel bound in a collaborative effort with its neighbors on behalf of all people of this region. An Israel that remains a flourishing democracy and society resting firmly on social justice and equality. Let me turn your attention to another exemplary woman, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Margaret was born in 1925 in Lincolnshire, England. Being a brilliant and studious student, she is accepted in Somerville College, University of Oxford, where she is majoring in chemistry. Interested in politics, she becomes the president of the Conservative Club at the university. After the university, she decides to pursue a legal career. In 1959, Margaret Thatcher is elected to the House of Commons to represent constituency of Finchley. And finally, in 1979, she is the first woman in British politics to become the Prime Minister. The term Thatcherism was specifically coined for Margaret's conservative views on the economy and government's policies. It represents a belief in a free market enterprise where government has a limited role. It also includes economic policy of monetarism, which means fighting inflation, strengthening national defense, privatizing businesses and industries in England to attract private investments, getting tough on demands of labor unions, freezing income taxes for workers, and replacing property tax with a poll tax. During her premiership, British economy posted positive growth between 1982 until 1990. On April 2nd, 1982, Argentinian forces invaded British-held Falkland Islands in South Atlantic. Decisiveness, confidence, and determination of the Prime Minister led British forces to reclaim islands back in 74 days. In her address to the House of Commons, she said the following: "We have no doubt about the unequivocal wishes of the Falkland Islanders, who are British in stock and tradition, and they wish to remain British in alliance." The Prime Minister's foreign diplomacy skills were especially influential during the Cold War, because Russians saw Miss Thatcher as the most useful ally of the United States with whom they could communicate. On December 16, 1984, for the first time, she met with the President of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev. In their conversation, she requested release of political dissidents. She supported unification of Germany and encouraged the President of the Soviet Union to establish a nuclear-free zone in Europe. In addition, she proposed free market relations in the future with the Soviet Union. Persistence and unyielding character to stand firm and not back down for what is morally right earned her admiration and a new title from the Soviets, the Iron Lady. What do Golda Meir and Margaret Thatcher have in common? Well, both prime ministers were raised in families of merchants, and as a generation of traditionalists were accustomed to accomplish goals through hard work and sacrifice. A plausible trace of evidence suggests that with no external influence, but due to individual perseverance and desire for accomplishments, women achieve astounding results in life and political careers. Women see any attempt to build themselves up as disruptive to building connections. The superb adeptness in foreign diplomacy displays an effective impression on foreign officials to accomplish needed results. In female culture, the relationship, the connectedness, the rapport is ultimately the most important thing. That's what really gives women their base of power and influence. After these two examples of leadership, how effective is a woman in a leadership role? Well, after premiership of Margaret Thatcher, representation of women elected to the House of Commons in the UK general elections surged from 3% to 29%. It proves that these two remarkable leaders of the past century have proven that women in politics are not only apt to lead a nation, moreover, notably exceed that expectation with aforementioned real-life and fact-based examples. And admiration from many world-renowned political leaders, as well as their own constituency, indicates that women in leadership positions are well connected to their audience because audiences want their presenters to be honest and transparent when they communicate. Well, I hope you learned something new and enjoyed the presentation, and I wish you good luck with the rest of the semester, and thank you for watching.